Today we're going to talk about the Dewanna Bonner situation. If you guys don't know, Dewanna Bonner, she said she's playing another season. Twice in the last 2 years, Dewanna Bonner has randomly left the team because it just wasn't working out. Twice in the last 2 seasons has she just said, okay, this situation isn't working out. Let me go. Let me go. Cut me, buy me out. Doesn't matter. I'm going somewhere else. This situation isn't isn't working out for me. So I'm gonna go and leave. So yeah, that's just kind of what it seems like, where she's just like, yeah, I'm gone. And it's one of those things with with Dewanna Bonner, where last year Nate Tibbetts got caught in an interview essentially saying that he was tampering. Like, he basically said that they were tampering and that they were trying to sign her while she was on the roster. While she was already on the Indiana Fever roster, they were trying to sign Dewanna Bonner. So as in, when she just quit. They were trying to sign her when she just wasn't showing up. Because everybody, they knew, because of Alyssa Thomas, that Dewanna Bonner was never going to play for the Fever again. When everyone was like, oh, hopefully Dewanna's okay when she's missing games for personal reasons. But it turns out, no. No, it turns out that she just quit on the Indiana Fever. And now it is very convenient that the exact day that that Nalissa Smith gets hurt, and the Aces, who are a team that, are competing for a title, the day it looks like they're going to have an opportunity to bring in a player, suddenly Dewanna's, I'm gone. Like, there needs to be some form of an investigation. If it turns out that the Aces contacted Dewanna or her agent and says, if you get out of Phoenix, is there a spot? Or the opposite way, if Dewanna's agent contacts the Aces and says, if I'm about to request a buyout from Phoenix, will you give me a spot? Then something needs to be done. And I'm sure that I watched plenty of this league. Did not care enough about the league to know about the ins and outs and the ongoings. I just watched the basketball in the past. That being said, you can't do that in the NBA. Could you imagine at the buyout market, if a player flat out was just like, yeah, I'm gone, a star, a player who was on nearly a max contract was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gone. Get me rid of being on the buyout market because this team had an injured player and I'm going there. And the worst part is that it's not like the NBA buyout market was in February. Could you imagine if like a week before the playoffs? Could you imagine if in April, there's a reason why you lock in playoff teams in the NBA. Could you imagine if like 5 games before the end of the NBA regular season, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head who'd be in a similar situation to Dewanna, where they're still a starter, one of the greatest of all time. I'm not going to say Steph. Paul George. Let's just say Paul George decided that he's like, you know what, I'm going to try to win a ring. Yeah, can you just let me walk and I'm going to sign for Spurs with like 4 games to go in the regular season? Like LeBron went to OKC. Yeah. I would say LeBron's better than Dewanna. He's Paul George more as an example. The problem is in the NBA is that no star will ever get bought out of their contract. Because if you get bought out of your contract, you're losing millions and not hundreds of thousands. And this is a player who refused to play, took money, and got after she refused to play and took money from the Fever while refusing to play, she then went and took a minimum contract. So she made sure she got enough money from the Fever that it was kind of half worth it, and then took a minimum contract. And I do feel like the tampering needed to be investigated last year because Nate Tibbetts admitted to it. Nate Tibbetts admitted to tampering. And that was, for me, the worst part about this. Nate Tibbetts admitted that he was tampering. And no one did anything about it. Literally nobody did. Because, it's Dewanna Bonner. You have to defend Dewanna Bonner. And 7th of October, during the finals, I want to see if I can get the clip here, where they openly admitted to it. I'm like, this is in my, this was actually, I recorded this. I know this is a weird fact. My last ever day in my old house. My last ever day was recording in the kitchen because my setup was already gone. But Phoenix Mercury said they went after Bonner the last 2 off-season joke, third time's a charm, said Alyssa Thomas helped. And during that, he basically was like, yeah, we were recruiting her. Basically, we recruited her the last 2 off-seasons and we missed out. We finally got her when we recruited her this time. And it's like, oh my God. They were so obvious. And when to be fair, if you sign a person who quit on their team via tampering, and then suddenly that player tampers their way out of your team or does the same shit to you, how can you be surprised? Genuinely, how can anyone be surprised when Dewanna Bonner pulled not exactly what she did in Indiana, but very similar to what she did in Indiana, Dewanna Bonner's after pulling here. It's not dissimilar. It is, this situation is not working out exactly how I want it to work out. Therefore, I'm gone. It's over. I'm out of here. I'm going to find a way to get out of here. And it's not even like with Indiana when she allegedly was refusing trades. People were and some people were saying, oh yeah, she, when she was in Indiana, at least, if she had been traded, at least the team could get some assets for you. No, and I get it, she's a legend in Phoenix. It's not like she actively didn't chose to not go back. On multiple occasions, they wanted her back, and she chose not to go back. So, yeah, look, it is what it is here, I guess. At the same time, though, you've got to be... We're looking at this whole thing, and it's just come on now. Come on. What are we doing? The league has to look into this. I'm not saying Dewanna Bonner needs to be punished because I don't know if the tampering is legit or not. That being said, there has to be some form of an investigation because I don't see how there's at least not conversations around this. Because if this happened in the NBA, there would be an investigation opened. And the same player appears to have done the same thing twice, especially if she ends up on the Aces. If she ends up on the Aces, an investigation has to take place. Why? Because there's no word about her going from the Mercury, and the second the Aces look to have a free roster spot because of the injury to Nalissa Smith, suddenly Dewanna Bonner is available. I don't know. It doesn't look. It's a bad look. It looks very, very fishy. That's all I'm going to say. And again, I'm not going to confirm that this has happened. I'm just saying this whole thing looks fishy. Just like last year, it looked fishy. This whole thing looks very, very fishy.